Now, chat, the last time Bungie said anything about Frontiers, it's been a hot minute. So I think most of us have actually kind of forgotten what the new big annual expansion is supposed to bring. So Llama here has actually made a recap video, which is great for all of us. Everything you forgot about Codename Frontiers in 15 minutes or less. Let's start from the very beginning here.
The last blog post concerning the next expansion, Codename Frontiers, was released, and even more time since the initial wave of articles. And I'm willing to bet that you've probably forgotten a thing or two about what changes are landing alongside it. So today, I'm going to take you through everything you forgot about Codename Frontiers as quickly and concisely as possible, starting with the shifting of the content release model. In Frontiers, the amount of content released per year is once again changing, and instead of having one major expansion accompanied by 3-4 month-long episodes like we have now, Bungie is returning to the 4 seasons per year approach, with each season being 3 months long.
Let me ask you guys about that. How do y'all feel about us going back to 4 seasons? Because we're about to enter, at least at the time of us watching this, we're about to enter Act 2. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's the 3rd episode. I'm starting to like understand like the layout of episodes. 4 months were dumb. I would say, yeah, 4-month time frames is too long. But I do like the changing up of activities over the episode. Just wish some of them were like better. Yeah, but this is the layout that is going to be now, guys. Yeah, 2 expansions per year versus the 1 big expansion. But I'll let Llama continue.
On top of that, each year will play host to 2 medium-sized expansions rather than 1 large expansion like we've been used to. Many among the community have speculated that it's right to expect these expansions to be similar in size and scope to previous entries like Rise of Iron, Warmind, or Shadowkeep. Each expansion will feature either a new raid or new dungeon, with the cycle expected to be the raid releasing alongside the first expansion and the dungeon with the second. Each expansion will contain a new destination, new story, missions, weapons, and gear. Each season within those expansions will largely be composed of what we're already accustomed to, containing new and reprised activities, gear, artifact perks, modifiers, and challenges, and a whole host of sandbox changes and events. The big change coming to this new model is that every single season per year will be totally free. Only the expansions will require a paid purchase to access. Bungie have also emphasized that each expansion will serve as a testing ground for trying new genres of game style, such as roguelikes, Metroidvanias, or experiences focused more on exploration. And we've already started to see this happen with the Nether, which is both an exploration and roguelike focused mode. And to be honest, I think they've done a pretty good job so far, because the Nether is awesome. Further to that, Apollo, the first expansion launching with Frontiers, is described as a non-linear character-driven adventure.
On the topic of what we're getting, I want Rise of Iron Shadowkeep size twice a year. To be quite honest with you, I honestly feel like that's way too ambitious. Bungie, those were their words. That seems like a lot. I will say though, making the seasons free, I don't know about you guys, that needed to happen. Needed to happen a long time ago. I think the free seasons is the way to go. Just charge for the annual expansion. Huge W, but it's a risky move. Well, things are not necessarily working out right now currently for Destiny. And look, this is coming from somebody that's like, I enjoy playing Destiny still. I enjoy the new content when it rolls out. But, you know, we're lying to ourselves if we're saying that where Destiny is in a good spot. We've lost a lot of players, and you know, I think having a paywall there is not helping. You know, you can charge for the expansions, you can make the seasons free. This will allow everyone to jump into at least some of the current content, and you know, hopefully if those people like it enough, maybe they buy the expansion. I think they're probably going to increase Eververse offerings if seasons are going free. Look, as long as it's not pay to win, I'm okay with it. If it's just some cosmetic offerings and ornaments, kind of like what we get right now, I'm okay with that. Matter of fact, I wish the whole game was free and they just make it to where Eververse paid for everything. But at the same time, like, how much money would they be losing? Would we not get raids anymore on a regular basis? Could we possibly be in a situation where Eververse does start to incorporate too much pay to win? At what point is Bungie going to start selling us vault space? The battle pass is still going to be paid though, I believe. I don't know. The seasonal content though isn't. So maybe the battle pass will be, yeah.
The next major change coming in Codename Frontiers is the addition of a new activity selector known as the Portal. The Portal is going to become the new way of selecting what activities you want to play for past and current releases, and it will replace the Director tab that we currently have. Its main aim is to streamline activity selection, and as such will change every season to accommodate for new ones and letting players know what's current. Alongside this new addition, Bungie have created new activity categories that will be present within the Portal that help to decide decide what you want to play. Solo ops are 1 to 3 player short activities that are meant for solo players and typically last around 10 minutes each. These activities are completely new and not currently present in-game, and within them, Bungie are releasing a new piece of enemy spawning tech that adapts to your combat. So for example, if the mission notices you're killing ads very quickly, it will spawn a hell of a lot more to compensate for your efficiency. And supposedly, this system takes into account a bunch of factors like how close you are to finishing the objective, how long since you were last in combat, and so on. Solo ops will also feature a new style of in-mission event like the spawning of a loot goblin, a secret passageway revealing itself, or
it's a learning machine. Let's just wait to see how that rolls out, if that's actually the way it's going to roll out, guys. Sometimes it's some like buzzword bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if something like this rolls out and people are like, it's Destiny. Except some of the characters have some banes here and there, you know what I mean?
Treasure chests. Solo ops are also going to be free for all players and become part of what they refer to as the core game, and in a lot of cases will also take place physically in locations that Guardians rarely visit. And they gave one example being the Salzwerk area of the EDZ, but I'm guessing they could very easily put you into other unused areas like the Neptunian Cabal fleet, the Sanctum of the Brood Queen, or the Martian surface beneath the Lure. It's also pretty reasonable to assume that they will take place in new areas too, and furthermore, you can play them with a team, but because they're meant for solo players, the mission will scale in difficulty the more players you have, and also they won't be match made. Fireteam ops are next, and they will encapsulate 3-player activities like strikes, onslaught, the coil, and new types in the future that will support matchmaking. Flashpoint ops are going to concern 6-player activities that are generally more chaotic, and they liken this to offensives, which could mean they are similar to things like Vex Offensive, the Sundial, or Menagerie, and they will also support matchmaking. Raids will not feature in Flashpoint ops and won't initially feature in the initial rendition of the portal, but they have stated that they will be integrated eventually. Pinnacle ops will house 3-player activities that are more challenging like dungeons, exotic missions, and full-length onslaughts that will also feature exclusive reward pools. The Crucible will also have its own category within the portal. The portal will provide direct access to current expansion activities as well as events like Iron Banner or Festival of the Lost, and every day, select activities in each category will feature various bonus rewards like specific weapons, armor, or currencies. The bonus reward is a guaranteed drop on first playthrough, then a high drop rate for repeat clears. Gambit won't initially be a priority, but they are considering numerous avenues to make good use of it and integrate it into the portal.
It's gonna be garbage, dude. We don't include Gambit now? Huh? Really? Look, for years, we have waited for some Gambit updates. Let me just go back to the portal here, guys. I think for my players that know exactly where they want to play and what they want to play, they're gonna just go and hit the directory up and go from there. I think if you're a new player or a returning player, because like tell me if I'm wrong here. For my folks that took off time and you came back to Destiny, were you a little lost on where to go? And I just want raw thoughts on this one. No, still a lot of people saying no. Okay, what do you not like about this, chat? You know this doesn't change. You can still go and pick the Grandmaster Nightfall that you want to farm. Like you could still go and pick Gambits or pick Crucible or pick Trials. The portal is just here as a means of like, hey, here are these like faster pull options into specific activities, some with bonus rewards for that day to just jump into content. What's the point of this? It feels useless. Okay, imagine someone who is a kindergarten and they're like, what do I play? I'm a solo player. I'm going to play solo ops. Oh, I'm going to check out Fireteam ops. This looks cool. Pinnacle ops. Maybe I'm going to try this out. It won't change anything unless they upgrade their servers. Okay, dude, come on, man. You guys, keep on. Y'all be pulling out shit. You're like, yeah, but Luke Smith us when sunsetting. It's like, keep your mind on what's in front of us right now. We're not talking about some bullshit. This right here, we're just talking about the portal. All right, guys. So I feel like everybody's pretty mixed on the whole portal change. I see more pros than cons from this because if I don't want to use the system, I don't have to. I can literally just go and choose the destination I want to go to. And that's that. I think that this will just serve as, you know, a good thing for returning play. And maybe, dude, what if there's some bonus rewards here that I want? Maybe me, you know, I'm like, I might do a Fireteam op for a specific weapon that might be dropping from it. I don't know. I don't think this is as big of a deal as it's being made out to be right now.
So now let's move on to how they're changing the core game activities. A major new system debuting in Frontiers is what Bungie are referring to as challenge customization, and it will serve as a new way of giving you the ability to tailor how difficult you want the content you're playing to be, and also it will apply to all PvE activities. Customizing your activity might allow you to, number 1, introduce new enemy combatant abilities like Banes, number 2, introduce new new combatant challenges that change how you play, like the Eversion Anchors from the Nether. Number 3, provide incentives for changing up your build crafting, like the Oscillation modifier from GM Nightfalls. And number 4, raise the power of the activity. The amount and quality of the rewards you earn from the activity directly correlates to how challenging you make it. The harder the job, the better the rewards. Speaking of, let's talk about how Bungie are deepening rewards in the core game. Weapons and armor will now come in various tiers, which dictate the quality of the item. The higher the tier, the better the item. And each tier will add on things like stat bonuses, enhanced perks, and other benefits. For weapons, Bungie likened this new tier system to how an adept weapon compares to its baseline legendary counterpart today. The new baseline tier for weapons will be equivalent to current day bog standard legendaries, and higher tiers being equivalent to adept weapons.
I actually think it's going to be better than adepts because you're enhancing literally everything. The barrel perks enhance, the mag perks enhance, all the traits in both columns are enhanced, enhanced origin traits
like strikes, crucible,
oscillation. Legolas, brother, just get good. You know what I'm saying? Oscillation is wonderful. So you got to use another weapon to then boost another weapon. All right, it's not that difficult. Oscillation is such a lazy ass modifier. Dude, I had a shotgun that could do 300% more damage. Why you shit on my good time?
Dungeons and Trials of Osiris will be updated.
You know what? Here's the thing, man. I hear what you're saying, guys. It's so unfortunate that your opinions somehow make their way to Bungie. And look, I say that with all due respect, right? I mean that respectfully, but it really fucks up my good time. You know what I mean? I love Oscillation. I will stand by it. And I think it's one of the best modifiers Bungie's ever added into the game. And I hope Bungie never hears you on how much you hate that modifier.
Every season, with a typical reward pool including a full armor set and enough weapons to provide multiple options for each weapon slot. I don't think this means they'll be pumping out a full new armor and weapon set for Trials, the featured dungeon, or Strikes every season, but rather do as they currently are by taking away older weapons and adding in new ones. But perhaps I'm wrong, or maybe they mean they're going to be doing a better job than they are now. We'll just have to wait and see. Interesting that they mention dungeons though, since up until this news they've always been one and done as far as loot is concerned. So having new weapons and armor added seasonally would be an awesome way to continue engaging with the dungeon. On top of this, new seasonal gear is going to have a distinct visual look that sets it apart from other gear, letting players know that it's new and current. This gear is dubbed New Gear, and some activities will require new gear in order to play. And the examples they gave were things like a new gear only Crucible playlist, which actually sounds pretty fun, or seasonal events that require the use of new gear. No word on what these events will be though. Circling back to armor now, with Frontiers, Bungie are completely overhauling the armor system into what they're calling next generation armor. Next generation armor is Bungie's new take on the armor grind, because basically, since the release of Shadowkeep, the Armor 2.0 system hasn't really changed substantially, and for the most part, all you need is a single well-rolled set and you're good to go. Currently, there's no real use hoarding lots of different armor pieces, unless you really like mixing up your stats, but in a more meaningful way, definitely not. So, this is Bungie's answer to that problem. Starting in Frontiers, every single stat point on your armor will contribute an overall benefit to your stats, unlike how it is now, where every 10 points contribute a difference. In Frontiers, having say 99 resilience will be almost identical to having 100 resilience now, and furthermore, the stat cap for each stat has been raised from 100.
This is soft sunsetting? Yeah, maybe, but at least we're getting something good out of it, rather than being told your shit gone for no reason.
100 to 200, with points ranging from 101 to 200, providing a new
I'd rather be offered something that changes gameplay up.
Additional benefit that builds on the base effect. The distribution of stats is also changing, where armor pieces now have distinct stat archetypes that determine the stat distribution.
Hold on, let me restart what he just said right there. 101 to 200, you will get new additional benefits that builds on the base effect. That means if you want to have 200 discipline or strength, there will be added benefits and hopefully good benefits for completely dedicating all of your stat points into that.
Providing a new additional benefit that builds on the base effect. The distribution of stats is also changing, where armor pieces now have distinct stat archetypes that determine
a 0.2 difference. That would be terrible. It better not be a 0.2 difference.
In the stat distribution you'll be getting, and controls the primary and secondary stat types, with a third stat being a free roll. Armor pieces will now seemingly contain 3 stats instead of 6, and class items will now also feature full stat distributions. The example given is a piece of brawler armor that specializes in melee related stats, and it's seen to have spikes in strength and discipline, which are the primary and secondary stats respectively, with a small roll on intellect, which is the random tertiary stat.
See, brawl right there. You see the brawler armor archetypes of extreme melee and other close range capabilities. Okay.
Respectively, with a small role on intellect, which is the random tertiary stat. This means there's probably going to be things like grenadier armor that specializes in grenade related stats, or medic armor that specializes in recovery. Stats themselves are also being overhauled in general. For example, discipline is being renamed to grenade, and points from 1 to 100 act like normal, but 101 to 200 now provides an increasing chance to gain a bonus grenade charge whenever your grenade becomes available. Strength is being renamed to melee, and much like grenade will also behave normally from 1 to 100, and then from 101 to 200 provide an increasing chance to gain a second charge once your melee becomes available. A new stat debuting is special ammo, which will dictate the rate at which special ammo bricks drop for you, with 1 to 100 huge. Increasing this rate, and 101 to 200 providing an increasing chance for these.
Guys, you hear what he's saying right here? There will be a stat point for special ammo dictating when ammo will drop, rather than just ammo finders.
To be double-sized. Bungie also briefly hinted in a relatively recent article covering the now live Heresy Crucible changes that in Frontiers, the special ammo meter will return to the Crucible and is also heavily tied to, and I quote, the largest game-wide rework of Destiny's ammo systems we have ever done. Potentially meaning that the special ammo meter will also be coming to PvE, which is a rather weird concept to grasp, but given that special ammo generation is now being tied to a stat, it's reasonable to assume that a special ammo meter would let you track your progress to spawning your drops, and the higher your special ammo stat, the faster said meter.
That would be interesting. Imagine inside of PvE, we don't just run around and have like this ambiguous system of whether or not are we getting close to spawning in special ammo. I mean, who knows? But imagine if we actually had a special ammo meters inside of PvE that tied to the stat that displaces.
Armor set bonuses are officially coming to the game. Armor set bonuses are going to be new added effects that trigger based on how many pieces of armor from a specific set you are wearing, and they come in 2 different tiers, 2 pieces and 4 pieces. An example given is Tex Mechanica armor that, if wearing 2 pieces, shooting from the hip gives increased movement speed and handling to your weapons that stacks with continued damage, or if wearing 4 pieces, Tex Mechanica weapons gain increased range and accuracy when fired from the hip.
Dude, imagine this. Imagine this with Radiant Dance Machines. That's
There are
wild.
a couple more examples given, but that's the basic idea. So if you want to, you can take 2 minor bonuses by wearing 2 pieces from 2 different sets, or fully spec into a single bonus by wearing 4 pieces from the same set. It's good to think of these bonuses as origin traits for armor, and I for one am incredibly excited for this change. As a consequence to all these changes though, old armor will be hit and likely will become very irrelevant very quickly. However, they did state that all old armor will be adjusted accordingly for the new system, though I doubt they will retroactively add set bonuses to it, but I could be wrong. Exotic armor will also allow players to update their pieces to be brought in line with the legendary armor rework, and the same goes for exotic class items, but for them specifically, you're going to be able to pick and choose the stats you want when updating to the new system. Because of all these changes, vault space becomes an increasing concern, which is also why in Codename Behemoth, the second expansion, Bungie are working on a solution for all the new armor drops players are expectedly going to be hoarding.
Let me just say this. Bungie, if there's a way to address vault space in Apollo, so that would be the first expansion. It needs to, man. I don't know about you guys. I'm hurting on vault space. It's going to hurt my soul to be looking at all of these armor sets that I want to keep but can't keep. We need that Vault 2.0 as soon as possible.
Finally, let's talk about the slated future for raids and dungeons. This could be either a good or a bad change depending on how you look at it, but starting in Frontiers, there will be 1 raid and 1 dungeon released per year going forward. And considering that up until this point, we've pretty consistently been handed 2 raids, 1 new, 1 reprise, and 2 new dungeons per year, this does sound like a pretty substantial downgrade. So what are Bungie doing to tackle this thought process? First of all, raids will now feature their own version of challenge customization known as feats. Feats are going to be able to enforce things like time trials, contest combatants, or other mode modifiers unique to the raid. And the more feats that are active during a run, the better the rewards will be. Furthermore, in the second season of each year, the yearly raid will receive new rewards, new mechanics, new feats, and potentially even new encounters that will also come alongside a second raid race for it.
All right, so same raid, but new mechanics to that raid. What they did say that they were going to be adding new mechanics. I don't know if that would be entirely new encounters. I mean, we saw it there with Pantheon. It could be something like, hey, 2 rocks. You know what I mean? 2 witnesses.
alongside a second raid race for it. New and exclusive rewards will get added in this update, including new weapons and the catalyst for the raid exotic. The second expansion of the year will contain a new dungeon, also featuring contest mode and a race for world's first, like we've now become accustomed to with Vesper's Host and Sundered Doctrine. Dungeon keys are now gone, and the dungeon is instead tied to the expansion it releases with, which is honestly such a massive W you don't even know. Dungeon keys are quite possibly the most stupid, made-up microtransaction, and they should have always been tied to whatever content they release with, so I'm glad this is finally happening. Dungeon armor and weapon sets will be expanded to match that of raids, and dungeons will also support challenge customization, but nothing more was elaborated on here, so we don't exactly know if they will also support feats, but it's highly likely they will. Lastly, the final season of each year will contain a Pantheon style event that nicely wraps up the year of endgame content, and given how successful the Pantheon was last year, I'm very much looking forward to how they iterate on the formula. Perhaps even bringing back sunset raid encounters, who knows? At least we know Pantheon is returning. In my opinion...
Well, about the topic of sunsetting or things that are sunset, as we have learned here recently, that's not as easy as we thought it would be. But maybe.
One raid that's the same quality as Salvation's Edge and one dungeon that's the same quality as Vesper's Host or Sundered Doctrine per year is a pretty good system. I would of course prefer more raids and dungeons wherever possible, but if it meant sticking with the old system and getting 2 raids equivalent in quality to Root of Nightmares, then yeah, no thanks. Bring on the new system and let's see how it goes. Plus, Pantheon is awesome and having it back will be great. Bungie also wrote a whole article discussing Banes and activity modifiers, but a lot of what they talked about in it is already in the game. Banes are now a prominent part of Nightfall and seasonal content and overall have been received pretty well, and new modifiers like Oscillation are absolutely awesome for overpowering GMs with ease, so I look forward to what new Banes and modifiers will arrive in the future. Finally, in the end of year 2024 blog post, Bungie also stated that the destination in the Apollo expansion is content complete and that they're now working on fleshing out the story experience and systems that come along with it. So that about does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the recap and enjoyed your time watching. Oddly, it's been a while since Bungie released a Frontiers related blog post, and also we don't actually know the official end date of Episode Heresy, meaning either Bungie is keeping the details really close to their chest or Frontiers is heading towards an imminent delay. Of course, I would hope that it isn't delayed, but...
Chad, what are our thoughts? Do we think Frontiers is going to be delayed? In my opinion, that would just put everything off. We're essentially coming full circle. What were we talking, September? A September release? You know, now we're back to when Destiny was first dropping. My only thought on it is this. Because it's not as big of an annual expansion as what we've gotten in the past, I don't think we're going to get a delay. But again, Bungie has not given us anything definitive. If it was like both expansions in one, it was like a big giant expansion like we normally get per year, then yeah, I think it would be delayed.
Confirmed an initial release date in the first place, it could just be a little later down the line than we were expecting. The final shape released on the 4th of June, and according to leakers, Episode Heresy is expected to end in late July or early August. So early August for Frontiers, no one really knows. But it would be nice of them to release like a teaser trailer or something. Come on,
That's still a delay though. August is too. What, are my kids going back to school by then? I just don't like August. I don't want an August release date. I don't want a September release date. June was actually pretty good. Because last year we just like, June, July was like completely focused on Destiny. We like lost our lives to it. I thought it was pretty solid.
Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.
Llama, wonderful video. Thank you so much for the recap. Dude, I'm going to be honest, guys. It's just been a minute. You know what I'm saying? I've kind of just forgotten about some of these. I will say that the thing that's probably going to be the biggest snag in all of this is like, is one raid, one dungeon going to be enough? And my gut's telling me no. We're hungry. We want the content. This year, we had 2 raids. Oh, no, we had 1 raid, but it was a hell of a raid. A fucking monster of a raid. The most raidest raid ever. The pinnacle of raids. And then we had 2 dungeons that were both contest mode dungeons. So, like, after the raid experience that we had this past year, I'm okay with that being our one and only raid. I just don't know if we're ever going to get a raid. I don't ever see Bungie giving us a raid on the level of Salvation's Edge. One, it wouldn't even make sense from a narrative standpoint. The next time we get a raid like that is going to be when we face off against the winner, which will be what, 12 years from now? Who fucking knows? But I mean, like, they're not going to give us another raid where it's going to take the first team 24 hours damn near to beat it. But people said that after Last Wish too. Yeah, but think about how, dude, that was fucking how many years ago, brother? Yeah, I'm being dramatic when I say 12 years. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't expect them to give us a raid on that level. And I just don't know if the narrative would make sense. I don't know, though. But the winner could be balls out right here from the get with this new expansion. I don't expect it. I think there's going to be a lot of build up to the winter. I think it should have a lot of build up to the winter. But yeah, he could be stroking it right there within week 1, and next thing you know, we're going into a raid against him. But I don't think that would be wise. I also feel like this, because there are so many core changes happening to Destiny, because you got to think about it, guys. We're getting some major changes. You've got the entire content model is changing completely. You've got our core activity changes. You've got our armor, which is essentially armor 3.0. I almost feel like, and unfortunately, Destiny player base, we may be in this situation where the focus this coming year may be like, yes, continuation of content and narrative, but also just we may be living through a period of like quality of life changes, refining systems, and that of course takes away from super new content, whether that be multiple raids, multiple dungeons, whatever else. And so we may be going through kind of like a growing pain situation. What I hope for is that at the end of it all, these are good foundational changes that allows for, you know, that next saga or next 10 years to be added to Destiny. And it's possible. Think about where Destiny 2 vanilla was when it first came to us. I mean, we went from a double primary system to static subclasses, and then look where we are now. Yeah, I would say that's part of the reason why I think they're dropping the costs too. You know, the fact that they're dropping the costs, they're making seasons free. That right there tells me that seems to be the agenda right now. Some huge resets need to happen at some point. Well, I think that's why the armor system is so good. You know, the next generation armor is pretty nice. I don't want my gear sunset, but dude, if you're going to give me an opportunity to build a stat, whether that be, you know, discipline, strength, or whatever else, and I could build it to 200 and it actually have a meaningful difference. Personally, I'm not that crazy about like, all right, I have a chance of getting my melee to reset, or all right, I mean, I guess that's cool. You know what I'm coming from? But like, I want some major impactful changes for committing stat distributions to 200, because that's not going to be an easy task. Granted, we'll see what the stat layout is going to be on some of these armor pieces with them only having 3 stats, but I still don't think it's going to be easy. I could be wrong. I don't think people are going to be walking around with fucking triple 200 stats. 200 is supposed to be guaranteed. What I'm saying is like, yes, reset of like, or having an extra grenade or having an extra melee is cool, and I'm down with that. Could we get a bit more? Could we get a bit spicier, Bungie? You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, that's it. That is your future content coming. Bungie has not done anything else. They haven't done any type of like reveals or Vidocs. I'm hoping that comes soon. And, you know, I hope that whatever system changes they put in place, I hope it's received well. I hope we like it. I hope it's noticeable. And I think between the monetization changes and finding a way to bring new players in, engage them in content, not set up so many paywalls, if not outright entirely removing certain paywalls, and then figure out the vault situation. We'll see, man.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.
Show.